Alright, so this is the Cricut Explorer machine. This is just a tutorial how to use it and what's its capability. To kind of start off, again, you plug in all your cables directly to your computer and power. Hit the open button to open up the machine so you can insert your cutting board and all that stuff. So initially you have all the slots. This is for your needle, your blade, and then this is for your pen or any other things that you may want to use. So come first off, this is it. So you press down, you can see that little blade there. So just kind of open it up, stick it down in there, and then clamp it. And that should be good to kind of start it off. Over here is just your dial for the type of material that you're using. They have, initially paper, vinyl, iron-on papers, light cardboard, cardstock, fabric. It all depends on what you want to use. So I'm just gonna set it just cardstock for now. Here is the cutting board. This one is probably heavily used, but still usable. Still use it for a lot of boards, but it should be kind of sticky. If it's too sticky, you can just dab it a little with something to kind of make it less sticky, but it's also washable, so you can kind of wash it off in some way. So one of the first thing you want to do is go to the Cricut design space. So you can easily just search that on Google. You go, Cricut design space should pop up. And once you're on there, again, you can go to click on there. For initial setup, you need to create an account and all that thing. So this is kind of like the home page of the Cricut design space. Here you have some menu options that you can look at, change certain settings if you want, or else just start with a new project. So some of these are some of the projects that already have started, or else just go ahead and do a new project once you create your account and log in and all that, things like that. On the left side, again, here you can grab from templates that are provided for you. Some of them you can just download. Most of them you have to kind of pay per item that you grab. These are the projects. On the left side here is some of the projects that people have created that you can also grab to help create your own projects based on what they have done. These are images, again, from people already pre-uploaded, so you can start seeing that some of these here will cost 99 cents for that image that you can pay in here. But if you already have some images that you've created or that you paid for, you can upload. And that's one great thing about Cricut Design Space, is that you can do these upload. So you can upload an image or vector files, wherever you want to do, to create your design. So I already grabbed something from on my desktop, placed it there. So let's just look at this for an example. Right now, this is the image that will be uploaded. You can tell it that it's a complex type of image if it has a lot of patterns that it needs to kind of determine. This one's pretty simple, so I'll just keep it as a simple image file. So let's go ahead and continue. So select right now they're asking select area and erase. So click on the areas of the image you want to remove. Use advanced option below for additional controls. So we're just going to click areas where we want it to remove, so that's not part of our cutting image. So I'm just going to click on that background. So now you can start seeing all that checkered pattern. That means it's transparent, so it no longer exists. So it's nice when you do these images to be just very simple, solid, white and black, or whatever colors that you may want, but just black and white is perfect. It will allow the Cricut Design Space to recognize it easily for you to select and delete which one. So now all they're going to do is pretty much recognize the black colors. That those will be the cutout. So now you can just go ahead and hit continue, and that continue uploading. So you can choose save and print, then cut image. So if you have some text and font and colors that you want to print first before you cut, you can do that. I have never really tried that myself, but mainly I use to save as a cut image. So I'm going to select that and go ahead and hit next. So now as part of my project family that I kind of uploaded, so all you can do now is select that image to insert into your project. Now you have to remember that the cutting board is 12 by 12, so you can't have any images that's bigger than that. So if it's bigger, you're gonna have to scale it down in order for it to cut properly. So, I kind of like just kind of position it so I know you can see the dimension here that it will fit on the board itself. So that's that. Over here are some other options. If you have multiple things, they'll list each items as individual items, so you can have some text on here. It'll list as text. Right now, as you can see, there are little icons along with it. So if you click on that, you give you option again, project colors if you're printing and cutting, but we're not doing anything like that, and we don't have multiple things, so we don't need to separate by colors for layers and all that stuff. You can right now you tell it to cut, write, and score however you want to do it. We're not using this image to score outlines of it, and we're not using it to write, put a pen in there to draw this shape. So we want it as a cut. You have to make sure that your device is turned on. So if you hit power on the Cricut device, your computer should recognize it if it's connected, however you're connecting it wirelessly or through a USB cable. Right now, mine is connected through a USB cable. So that's the initial. Just hit start, and that should hit the power on, and that should connect your computer. Once that occurs, you can go ahead and hit make it. It's just gonna send you to kind of like a preview of how it's gonna be printed and layout on your board. So you're gonna make sure that it fits on your board. Mine is a 12 by 12, as you can see in this image. You can change it. Once you see all that, everything's good, you can go ahead and just hit cancel for now before you hit cut. I'm just going to show you what happens if you have multiple objects. So let's just say, okay, I want a star in this scene as well, or we want to cut it along with all this with your blue paper. So let's go ahead and put that in there. You can scale it here if you like, or rotate it however you want it to. So it's up to you. Place it there. Right now, these are two different objects. As you can see, I can select them. You can group them if you like. You have, once you select them all, as you can see here, you can group it, ungroup it, but grouping it won't make it cut on the same board or cut on the same paper, as I'll show you here. So even if I group it, so these items are grouped together right now, so I can move them around together and move on my board. So once you hit make it, as you can see here, they're actually shown as two separate items. It'll cut wherever you see on this board is where it will be cut. So as you can see here, they're cut two different times, so therefore it's meant for two different paper. I actually wanted to cut it on the same paper too, so that it's more efficient, since I just want one single color for both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. So grouping is great for moving these images around together. So let's go ahead and ungroup it for now. You can keep it grouped, but I like to keep it on a group. So when you select them all at the same time, you actually wanted to weld these items together. So when you weld them, they actually become a true single item without needing to group. Group them allows it, but now this is really one item, and you can't really unweld it. There's no unweld. So what you want to do is make sure it's all good before you weld and cut. You can always undo your weld. So if you can do Control Z, undo, as I'll show you here now, they become individuals again. So I could just, but in order to cut it in the same board, you actually have to weld it together. That's why you can save this as a project, as these. And so now, once we go ahead and actually start doing the make it process, you start seeing that it's cut into one single item now. With that in mind, you can actually start now loading up your paper. As you can see here, I'm just choosing this cardstock. Just place it accordingly. Kind of pat it down to make it sticky, and go ahead and hit continue if everything's good. So all I have to do now is load in our paper. So let's just set it in like that. So the up and down arrow here, all you have to do is hit, once you load it in there, just hit it in there. So actually it didn't really load, so let me try it again. Oh, paper. Alright. So it should pull it in a little, and that's how you know that it actually pulled in properly. Once that's in, the next one's the Cricut, the C icon will flash. You hit that, and it'll start cutting. So as you can see right now, it's still cutting. Just kind of zooming out, it's only 66%. It takes a while depending on the complexity of your design that you're trying to cut. So it's getting close, but it's actually really fun to watch. I can probably sit there and just watch it cut all day. And it's quite amazing how well this blade lasts. I had it since over a year and a half ago, or 2 years even now. We use cut a lot. It hasn't worn out. It cuts very well and is still very sharp. I mean, we could replace it. It's not too expensive to replace it. But we're not doing anything professionally right now, so it's not needed to be replaced yet. It's getting close at 97%. Alright, 100%. Alright, once it's done, you start seeing a flash again. Press that button, it will kind of eject that cutting board. My thing isn't super sticky, so I can start peeling it off without worrying about it sticking and tearing away my paper. As you can see, as I peel the paper away, those elements will stick to the board. This is your design. You should have this little handy tool here that kind of helps scrape off your design, and you just peel it off, and there you go. You have your little design image that you wanted to cut. You can use it, glue it on, making postcards or just cards, holiday cards, and that's how the Cricut device works.